Welcome to You Can't Break Us, the podcast sharing real stories of parental alienation and family court injustice. I'm your host, Kaylin Hawkinson. Each episode, I sit down with brave guests who open up about their personal journeys, the pain, the resilience, and the fight for justice. These stories are raw, real, and powerful because speaking out is how we break the silence and remind the world, you can't break us. Hi, Jill. Thank you so much for
Hi.
being here today. I'm so excited that you're here, giving kind of a different perspective since I typically have kind of parental alienation stories. Today, it deals with court injustice and what I would still consider CPS wrongdoing by not doing anything, and also a different perspective to the fact that this biological mother willingly gave you legal guardianship. So I'd like to start from the beginning and just get into your story of how you came about to getting legal guardianship and took off from there.
Yeah, so hello everyone. My name is Jill Pitre, and I am here because I was a caregiver of a child who was put into my care by her mother. She was not removed by any means. It was we agreed that I would raise her and she would stay in her life. I met the mother in 2021. She contacted me. She found me on Google and she wanted a psychic reading. And that was the first of many readings. And we began to, bond and build a relationship. Not in person, but mostly like on the phone. Anyway, so she ended up getting pregnant. And she was in some situation with domestic violence. She claimed the dad was violent, but she was very violent. She actually had an incident where she stabbed him before she got pregnant with this baby, and she
Wow.
had her two older children with her. And then he dropped the charges on that, and she did not, nothing became of it. So she ends up having the baby in December of 2022, and April 6th of 2023 was the first day that I got her. So she was 3 months old.
Okay.
And we signed the guardian agreement in, I think it was in somewhere in the summer time. It maybe June or May. I'm not sure on the date. So we signed the guardianship where the agreement was she was going to stay in her life and I was going to raise her. She would go to school here and I was going to have full responsibility. However, she had confided a lot of things in me, and one of the things was potential molestation with her children because they had been found with their clothes off multiple times with other children. And one of her children told her that a little 9-year-old girl asked her to lick her. And so we agreed that the children, none of her three children, she was keeping the two older ones, and I had the baby, would go to this woman's house. This is her cousin. Um, so just so happened a couple of days after we signed the guardianship agreement, she puts a post on Facebook about how she was tired of her older children and she was dropping them off, and she tagged this woman where we agreed they would not go there. And so we had a scheduled date for the Sunday for her to see the baby, to take the baby, and she was gonna have her at the park with the other kids for a while. But when that Sunday visit came, I told her no, and that sparked everything. That's where everything started with the court. Other than that, before that, it was just a notary that we had signed.
Okay,
Um,
so that's what a guardianship agreement is,
right.
just notarized. Okay.
Right. Like I would have her permission to take her to the doctor, like if she was in my care. Because another thing, the mother would she drinks a lot and she would not answer my call. And I
Mm.
had her baby. Like if I have an emergency, I need to be able to know where to get in touch with you. So, those things, the school and many other decisions, we decided that I would raise her and sign that guardianship. Well, when I had to tell her no for the visit. This would have been in October, the beginning of October of 2023 was when I told her no for the visit.
Okay. So
And
you've had the baby for a few months by then.
yeah, she was about 7 months old, I
Okay.
believe, 7 or 8 months old. So, and so between 3 months and 7 months, we shared her. She went back and forth between mom and me. And
Okay.
then when we signed the guardianship, it was agreed she would stay here and just visit with mom. And then she did not go to mom at all because of her allowing the other kids to go in that environment again after we had
Okay.
agreed not to. So what I did was I refused her to have the child. She called the she made a report with the sheriff's office. They called me to give her the baby back basically, and I contacted the baby's dad because they were separated. That's a whole nother story. They were separated already, and he had a new baby with someone else. And he met me, and I already had the birth certificate because when she signed me guardianship, she gave me the birth certificate, social security card, everything for the baby. So I had the birth certificate, and he told the police officer that he wanted the child to stay with me. And then he and I went to the courthouse and filed for that initial protective order. That was on October the 23rd of 2023. That was the first of 8 protection orders that we
Wow.
were granted. When it came time for court for an ex parte order, it was continued at first for her to be allowed time to hire an attorney, which she did. Then when it came time to go to court for the custody, she ended up in jail again. So, and I believe she was supposed to be served 6 months, but it was a little less. So during that time, the court was continued, but dad was at court and he agreed for me to have custody. So the judge issued me a consent judgment giving me sole custody as it pertained to the father. We couldn't do the mother because she was incarcerated. Um, and this is all important for later because it was
Yeah.
all like ignored.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we ended up when she got out of jail back in court, and all this time since October of 2023, she had 2 hours a month of supervised visitation. She missed a few. She was late a lot, and when she was incarcerated, she didn't visit with her. So the baby had not been alone with her since she was 6 months old when
Yeah.
she just immediately was transferred. So we had the consent judgment. She gets out of jail, and a couple of things to mention that are important would be the sexual molestation in her family that she had confided in me. She told me that she was molested by her brother and by her nephew. She told me that her mom was molested by her uncle, which would have been her mom's brother, and that her uncle, her mom's brother, also molested the brother that molested her. So she told me that everybody in her family was involved in child molestation in some way.
Okay.
So these things, when you are catching your kids without clothes on with other kids, these are like red flags for me
Right.
that
Mm-hmm.
I knew. I started recording our calls because I knew that it wasn't a good situation, and I just knew that I was going to need it later. So I started recording our calls, and everything that I just said, I have on audio, and that was all played in court. It was all allowed in court. She didn't
Okay.
know I was recording her calls, but it's legal to record if I'm the other party. So these calls are all recorded. I have text messages of her where she sent me mugshots of her brother. He was arrested for rape of a 16-year-old, and he
Wow.
was in jail, and she sent me a text message saying, "This is the brother that molested me," with his mugshot. So I have all this evidence in court,
Yeah.
and it's all looked at in court. The whole time of the trials from October 2023, which that was the first protection order, but we actually didn't go to court until November, until January of 2025 this year. All this time, It was continued, another reason, just prolonged. So this child was left with me and just having 2 hours a month supervised visitation with her mother. And then on January the 3rd, after all that trial, the judge never showing any kind of sign that she was going to have a reunification. She never ordered her into any kind of rehabilitation to better herself. Like none of that was done. The other two kids were not removed from her custody. I contacted CPS multiple times because I had custody of the one child, but the
Hmm.
other two were still in danger. And I was worried about them. And my attorney kept saying, don't worry about them. You have the baby and she's safe. And I'm like, but what about the other two kids? Like, I never understood that throughout this whole
Yeah.
time. So, in January, when we lost custody, we were very shocked. There was no warning at all. What happened on that day was, um, first of all, I was given the wrong, I mixed up 10 o'clock for 1 o'clock and I was late to court. So I was a couple hours late to court and my attorney never contacted me to say, where are you? Why you're not, nothing. The
Wow.
reason how I ended up getting to court is because I texted her secretary and to confirm, hey, court's at 1 o'clock, right? And she was like, no, court is right now, right? And I was like, what do you mean? I'm not even dressed. And I
Oh,
live 30 minutes away. So we were 2 hours late for court. We get They interview witnesses without me there. Half of the records missing at the appellate court because my appeal still being decided right now. I don't have my appeal answer yet.
okay.
Um, and we're when we get to court, they break for lunch. So we go to lunch and we come back from lunch and I called the secretary and I said something strange is going on. There is a man in the courtyard of the courthouse and I'm very suspicious of him. And she said, don't worry about it. Get in the courtroom. They have security. Just go in the courtroom. Okay. And that was the thing because I always had to get security to walk me back to my car because she always had her sisters and her whole family there and they would
Mhm.
wait outside for me to try and intimidate me. So they always walked me to my car. But I recognized this as something strange. So who it ended up being was the brother that molested her, that I had all this evidence. Plus, she admitted it on the stand herself that he molested her. He's at the courthouse for lunch. And the
Wow.
judge comes back from lunch and she doesn't remember about my consent judgment. She sounds confused. And then she just gives the mom custody and says immediate transfer. No signed consent judgment. We still had an active protection order in place until midnight that night. That so everything was like done rush. They filed two cop cars followed us home from the courthouse and put this baby in the back of a cop car, just like her mom had been in the back of a cop car so many times. That's what I thought of.
Wow.
Like, what are
And
y'all
and
doing to this child?
and she went to jail more than once
Oh
during
yeah,
this time that you had
she was
custody of the
arrested four
baby.
times while we were
Okay.
in trial. That's why it kept getting continued. She continued to get arrested. One of the things was that the dad had, like I said, he had another girlfriend and he had got her pregnant. Well, the mom took to Facebook to stalk this girl and found her sonogram picture and got the doctor's name off of it, called the doctor's office, acted like she was the mom and didn't remember her appointment, and showed up over there with three kids. She had all of them that day and left them in the car, age 6, 5, and the baby was just a couple months old. And left them in the car and went in that office and said she was there to meet her friend for a sonogram. The nurse let her in. She pulled that girl off the table. The girl ended up in the hospital
Oh, wow.
and she was beating on the dad. She broke a sink and she left and then realized she forgot her phone and went back to get her
Oh,
phone. And she got, that's when they found her, that they had already called the cops. So
and the
that's when they
kids were in
found
the
her.
car during
Yeah,
that.
she left the kids in the car. And so one of the reasons she went back to jail was she continually stalked the dad, and she kept
Okay.
going find his car at his house, at jobs, wherever he was, and she would bust up his windshield. And I had her on audio telling me that she had busted up his windshield.
Wow.
And she to me she had done this like 4 times by now, not to mention she had stabbed him in the past. And he seemed like a good guy, and he wanted to seem like he just wanted to get away from her because he didn't know what else to do. And so I gave him the recording, and she was arrested for um provoking her probation from when she went to the doctor's office and she attacked them.
Wow. Just so many violent tendencies that she has shown over and over. It's
Yes.
really shocking that none of this was taken into account. And
She
it's very little to say she only had 2 hours a month for supervised. That's not you. And then on top of that, you
The
said
baby
she might
didn't
have,
know her. That
yeah.
baby was so traumatized. I mean, she only knew us. She had not been alone with her since an infancy, and she was 2 years old. I mean, I can only imagine.
Yeah, I'm truly shocked to see that you had the child that long of time. Very, very tiny amount of time the child ever had with the mother, the biological mother, and then just have custody just ripped from you. You even had assigned notarized guardianship
Hmm.
that the mother willingly gave you. And so it just it yeah, I can't even logically wrap my mind around this one that it was
Yeah.
ripped from you like that.
She wanted to originally have the pregnancy aborted. And I kind of like, not that I thought I was gonna have to raise the baby. I just saw some good in her. She's been in trouble since she's 16 years old. But I saw the good side of her, and I was trying to bring that out of her, and I was trying to lean her towards not doing that. And she ended up canceling the appointment. And at that time, they passed some kind of a law where it was illegal in Louisiana, so she couldn't do it.
Right.
Um, so I guess, when she started telling me that she was, just letting the baby sit in the house crying because she didn't know what to do, all these things, I offered to help her with the baby. And once the baby started coming, I mean, I fell in love with her, and, I offered even more. And then it
Mm-hmm.
turned into, I was really proud of her for realizing that she wasn't prepared to raise the child and doing the right thing. But I
Yeah.
really think what it all came down to was she wanted me to raise her, but she wanted to call the shots. And that wasn't going to happen. Like, if you're entrusting me with your child, and obviously you did because you signed that paper, then you need to trust me with the decisions. And, I did not feel it safe. It's not that I wanted her to not see her mother the day
Yeah.
that I withheld her. I didn't want her to be in that environment.
No, right. I mean, it from everything you've explained that she also explained to you, it's abusive, it's molestation involved. It is not
Yes.
where children should be. So you had every right to make that safe decision for the child. And I guess after you mentioned appeal that you're still going through that right now. So I assume after that happened with the custody back to the mother, you appealed that case then?
So I told my attorney, Jeray Jambone Jarreau, um, if anybody needs an attorney in Lafourche Parish, please do your research because I didn't. She was recommended to me. So when this happened, I was in a hurry because I never planned to keep the baby from her mom.
Yeah.
And when I found that out, it was a rush situation. So instead of researching attorneys, I hired an attorney really fast to help
Yeah.
me. Like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know, was never involved in court with anything. So I hired Jeray Jambone Jarreau, and on January 3rd, when the judge was making her ruling, I said, appeal it, appeal it. And she was like, I don't do appeals.
Oh.
So she didn't appeal it. And then she followed me outside and she told me that she was going to meet with me in about a week to discuss like what had happened. She was shocked too. I knew she was shocked. But the reason why I dislike I disagree with the representation now is because, not because I think she was in on it, but because of the way she handled things after, and then the way that I realized she handled things during the trial. Once I started studying the law and having to represent myself, I realized, oh, she did this wrong, she did that wrong, like all these things she did that shouldn't have been done. Like from the very beginning, why was something wasn't recommended for mom to get rehabilitation from
Yeah.
day one?
Do you think she wasn't very familiar with these kind of cases or had
I
this
just
kind of
took, I,
experience?
She was recommended to me by a juvenile detective, a family friend,
Oh, okay.
and so I hired her, and
Hmm.
I was misled. Her secretary, Hillary Danos, told me that she was the paralegal, and throughout this, I never questioned it. I talked to her regularly, so I never talked to a paralegal. Hillary was not a paralegal. I found out after the fact. She was a State Farm agent. Um,
Oh.
and she's lying to clients saying that she's a paralegal. And so happened my in-laws wanted to contribute to the attorney. The attorney bills were starting to rack up, and they wanted to contribute. So I asked Hillary if we could Zelle. They wanted to send $1,000, and I asked Hillary if we could Zelle it, and she gave me her personal telephone number for her personal Zelle account. It was on her name, never to the law
Oh,
office. And then
okay.
after that time, before that time, I was calling it in, but after that time, all the payments went through Hillary, the one that said she was paralegal and was just not, her personal checking account. So after the fact and after the case, I started researching all of this, and I realized they have a nonprofit. The board members, all people in her office or her family, like her brother, I'm talking about Jeray and Hillary.
Hmm.
It's all like the board members are all within her law office, her family, um, are people that are really, really have a lot of money. Um, I started researching on different things that should have been done, and I wanted to try to get the child back to safety, even though they had removed her immediately.
Yeah.
I asked her to file motions to, like a stay. I asked her to file a couple of other motions that I had researched, and she told me that no, there was no motions that could be filed. Um, so the child was left all this time, and I ended up saying that I was filing the motion myself. And when she did that, she told me that she had to withdraw from my case. Which was not true. I could file a motion while I had an attorney. It didn't matter. She was looking for a way to get out. And what I really think it is I believe that she knows something went down at lunch, and she has to work in that courthouse. So she can't do anything, and she's scared. I
Yeah,
really think she's scared.
like
Yeah.
something happened behind closed doors
Yeah.
between the representatives and she
Something had to
works.
do
Yeah.
with that brother, the other attorney, and the judge. Definitely. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. Um, I can't prove it, but you know,
Right.
the records say different because I had 8 protection orders, and that judge signed 7 of them. And she signed a consent judgment giving me sole custody. So s-
Yeah.
something happened at lunch. There's no other way around it.
Right.
So anyway, getting back to, so Jeray, she ended up withdrawing from my case, and I started representing myself, and I started researching. I got a few motions denied at first, and then I started getting better at it, and they started getting accepted, and my appeal went through.
Wow.
So I went all the way to oral arguments September 24th, and I'm waiting for the answer now on that.
Okay, so
Um
when you went into court and represented yourself and
yes.
testified and spoke, and is there another lawyer involved that you had to argue against, or is it just you?
Yes. Her
Oh,
lawyer.
okay. Oh,
Yes.
so okay, so that lawyer is still going. Okay.
Yes. And I mean, so the record was, majority of the record was missing. The March 31st, March 28th court date where the consent judgment gave me sole custody was not in the appellate record. In fact, that whole court date was missing from the appellate record, but her attorney was in court that day. She was in jail, but her attorney was there, and he said that that never happened. Um, so what else was missing? All of my protection orders were missing from the record, every one of them.
Oh, jeez.
My ex parte order was missing. The supervised visitation was missing. Um,
How? How that is just mind-blowing that all the pertinent evidence,
testim
of course, is
right.
missing.
One of the other times she got arrested was because she went with her kids to her sister's house and she was drinking, and supposedly she broke her sister's phone and beat up her sister's car. Her sister called the cops and she had took off and they couldn't find her right away. And then she ended up turning herself in. So she got arrested for that. And this was like right before we ended in January, like in the fall of
So this still
2024.
happened before custody was switched back to her. This was one of the
Right.
times okay.
Yeah. So she got arrested for that. And at the January 3rd hearing, we had subpoenaed the police officer and the sister, and we were supposed to subpoena the dad's girlfriend that she went and attacked, but that subpoena was never delivered. It was never told to me that it wasn't delivered. When I asked Jeray, it was in court on January 3rd, why is the girlfriend not here? Oh, we couldn't deliver her subpoena. Nobody informed me of that. Why didn't you continue this? She was one of my main witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that is missing from the record. The cop's testimony, the sister's testimony, all of that information is not in the appellate record. The sister got on the stand and said that the cop's report was a lie and the cop was lying. That she never broke her phone. They misunderstood her. And she never damaged her car. That was a lie. So
Jeez. So her family is kind of sticking by her side here
everything she
after.
does,
Yeah.
she gets out of, but she's a master manipulator. Like, she can make anybody believe anything. I don't know what she told his attorney, but in oral arguments, his main argument was that he had so much anger to me because I removed a Black child from her heritage.
But she
And
chose you. She willingly let you.
yeah, she did. But how does that trump the safety of the child?
Right, and
Like,
that too.
if you would have took the child from me and put her in another Black home that was safe, I would not have my mouth open. I would have, I would have been happy with that. But you didn't. You took her and you put her back in mom's custody with no oh my God, I lost track of the word. With no
Recourse or
rehabilitation.
okay.
Yeah. And she was arrested again after she got custody back.
That's what I was going to ask next. What has
Nothing's
happened?
changing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Jeez.
And, the Louisiana law says that they have to have a best interest analysis. There was none done. To me, CPS should have investigated me when I applied for that protection order. I'm not related to these people. She found me on Google. Why wasn't I investigated immediately? Like, it's not just, they didn't just do it wrong at the end. The whole trial was wrong. And I didn't know at the time that these things were necessary. So I never questioned a lot of it. I did question the CPS part. And my attorney says that she's not a mandated reporter and she wasn't obligated to contact CPS. But all attorneys are mandated reporters for one thing. And the other thing is, don't you have a conscience? Like, you have 2 kids. How do you sleep at night? So immediately I began, campaigning to try to protect the child. What the attorney does. Well, mom immediately contacts the court and files for an emergency protection order against me because I shared one of her mugshots online, and it made her mad. So I go to court. That order was granted. Her attorney wasn't even in the court. She was by herself. The judge gave her that protection order with no evidence, no proof of nothing. I mean, I got her mugshot off of a website. I can share that. That's legal.
It's public.
So, right. That
Yeah.
protection order ended last weekend, last Saturday, but I'm not finished with it because I don't have a criminal record,
Mhm.
and I don't deserve that protection order. And it is a void order. I want it marked as fraudulent. And so I'm going to be filing motions for that very soon. I'm just waiting for my appeal to be finished right now. And then I have a lot of other things, that I plan to do.
Yeah.
But she gave me a protection order for mom. So Jeray in turn thinks, oh well, Judge Abel gave her a protection order, so and she didn't deserve it, so she's going to give me one. So she applies for a protection order to get me to stop talking about what she did in my case. So Judge Abel removed herself from that case. I guess she thought, she had her hands dirty enough. She couldn't help Jeray get into something illegal. So it went through 3 judges, and then it got down to the last judge. And she had a litigation attorney contact me to try to get me to sign a consent judgment. Like, she knew she couldn't get this protection order. And I was like, no, I'm not signing nothing. This is my freedom of speech. I'm going to
Mhm.
say what happened. She
Yeah.
did wrong. She put the child in jeopardy. And so we get to court. They called me in the hallway 3 times. Um, I ended up feeling sorry for her. She was crying hysterically. And I told her that I would meet with them to talk about her reimbursing my attorney fees, in place of me not speaking out against her. But I was never going to sign anything. Like, I'm not signing my rights away. Um, so I agreed to go ahead and make a meeting with her because she was crying and I felt bad. So it got continued. Well, the attorney secretary contacts me and says that, gave me the address, sets up the meeting. I said, yeah. Then the night before the meeting, I confirmed the meeting with the attorney secretary, and then I get an email from Jeray asking me if I would prefer to go to her office instead of her attorney's office for the meeting. And I'm thinking to myself, you filed a protection order against me, but now you're contacting me?
Yeah.
Like, so I just ignored the email, but I was still going to the meeting. So I'm dressed and I'm in town ready for the meeting. And 30 minutes before the meeting, the secretary calls me to confirm the meeting again.
Hmm.
And I said, no, this is weird. I'm not coming to this meeting. I said I was coming, but Jeray's emailing me, y'all calling me multiple times to confirm over and over. Like, no, just cancel it. And so I never went to that meeting. Then I get a notice that she just dropped the protection order. She knows she's not going to get a protection order.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
not going to happen. So it was dropped. So right now I am just waiting on the answer from the appellate court any day
I'm
now.
I'm still surprised even after custody was switched back to her again, she went to jail or was arrested for however
Yes.
long. Are you able to use that as part of your evidence towards the appeal as well to show a consistent pattern of behavior here?
So in the appellate record, you cannot add anything that happened after the decision. So
Okay.
it's only from no October to January. That's the only thing that's allowed in the record. So like that protection order she got illegally against me, I did not, that's not in the record, but it is in my appeal because I put it in my appellate brief just to see if it would go through because the judge signed it under the same docket number as my custody case. The
Okay. Yeah.
judge lost jurisdiction. She wasn't supposed to assign anything on that case because she lost jurisdiction when I applied for my appeal. That means she can't do anything. But she went
Okay.
ahead and gave that protection order to try to, basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to scare me, intimidate me, and wear me out, make me broke.
Yeah.
But
Finding
I'm
every
gonna,
kind of loophole possible against you to shut it
yes.
down. Mm-hmm.
So when I did file a writ for the protection order, and it was denied because I did not realize that I had a 30-day window. And with everything with the appeal, I didn't study it right away, so it was my fault. It was denied. However, I plan to file another motion that's going to open that 30-day window again. So the motion that I'm going to file is going to be a motion to vacate that order, and it's going to go to the judge that wrote the order. And she's going to do one of two things. She's either going to sign it and vacate it, or she's going to deny it to try to wear me out. But if she denies it, I could go back to the appellate court because that 30-day window opens again. So even if
Okay.
even though the protection order has expired, I want it gone. It's not fair.
Right. Yeah. That's not, and I've heard this in other cases as well. It just sounds so common that those are just signed so freely with no evidence, and that can truly just ruin reputations, ruin cases with someone who has a justifiable case and trying to
Yes,
protect a child. It's dangerous that that happens.
it is. It's very dangerous, especially when they don't follow what they're supposed to follow. And, it's not that she just didn't do the transition period or the best interest analysis. Throughout the trial, she should have required mom to get parenting classes, alcohol classes, drug tests. All these things should have been
Yeah.
required, and they
Like a
weren't.
psych evaluation and all kinds of things. I mean, that is just so surprising that no process was, I mean, even supervised visits were put into place. Very little.
Yes.
That's so minimal. Only 2 hours awarded a month. So to know that, how was there nothing else alongside that put into place?
And this is a blower one too. Um, so not long before custody was given back to mom, during one of our supervised visits, which was on Saturday, they would start at 11 to 12. And we got there, and she went. So it's this government building, and there's like police officers and guards and everything. It's a very nice place. They have guards that are watching everything going on. They have cameras, toys, different rooms, TV, anything the kids could want to do with a parent is there. It's, great place. So I go in on one side of the building and she comes in on the other side of the building. We never see each other. So
Okay.
they come and get the baby from me on my side and bring the baby to her, and I wait in the waiting room, and when the visit's over, I leave. Um, I never really left. I left a couple of the visits, but I mean it was only an hour, didn't really pay, just sat in the waiting room.
Yeah.
So this particular day, I was sitting in the waiting room, and she was back there for maybe about 15-20 minutes. And two ladies come out with the baby with her arm out of her shirt's off of her head and one arm out, and says, Mom says something's wrong with her arm. Um, she says it looks red, and it kind of didn't really look red, but I don't know. They saying it looked red, so immediately I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna take her to the emergency room. So I take her straight to the emergency room. Nothing's wrong with the child. She's running around eating M&Ms. I took videos of her at the emergency room. They didn't want to do an x-ray. They said nothing's wrong with, she's not acting like something's broken. So I insist. I said, no, I'm in a custody situation and I have to have an x-ray. Um, I'm so happy I did that because that came back to me. So we had the x-ray done. Nothing was wrong with her arm. And she turns around and says that I broke her arm and left her arm broken, and she had to notice at a custody visit.
Mm.
Now I can't prove this either, but what I wanted to know was, why weren't those cameras reviewed? Why did my attorney not immediately request that? Because she clearly tried to break that child's arm to get me to lose custody. Clearly.
Mm. I was gonna say, yeah, there should be cameras, I
While
would
on
think that,
camera.
yeah, and you could show clear evidence of you bringing the child in, no issue, and being able to see maybe what the mom did during the visit and then coming back to you to
Yes.
have clear evidence. And yet, but yeah, that was smart thinking on your part to insist on
Yes,
x-rays,
I'm so
just
happy I
knowing,
had that. Yeah.
yeah,
So now she's telling everybody that I broke the child's arm and left it broken for days. And when I brought her to a visit, she realized the arm was broken. Like all these, stories that come out of nowhere. Um, But
Wow.
if you're gonna do something like that to your child, desperately, like that says a lot about you.
Yeah, it does.
Um,
It's clearly a dangerous situation. And I mean, especially since custody was switched to her, I can only imagine how worried you've been about that child being in her care now.
yes, definitely worried, especially when, I don't go look at her Facebook. I have her blocked. Um, I don't look at her social media because I kind of don't want to know, but people that know her do send me screenshots sometimes. And I've seen a lot as far as her posting about dropping them off for a week because I need to go party and half naked pictures of herself and all these things. Like nothing's changed.
I mean, it's just, it sounds like she doesn't even want to be a mom.
She
So,
doesn't want it to be said that she's not a good mom.
mm-hmm.
And
It's, yeah.
another thing that was a lot of it, she's the baby of the family. And her sisters are all like a good bit older than her. She has like five sisters and three brothers. One of the sisters was not in agreement when we did the initial signing for me to raise the baby. She was very upset about it, the sister. And this was an issue for her. Like they're on her trying to talk her out of it. And she wants to do what she wants to do. But the problem is, I offered to help mom and all three kids. She, I've got text messages of one sister attacked her while she was pregnant. Like she's always in a conflict with somebody, including the sisters, but they always come back together. So, she's confided a lot of things that they've done to her to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I've offered her, you need to just get away. You can come to my house. You can bring all the kids, stay, till you get on your feet. But she's turning it to be like, I just wanted to steal her baby. I mean, I raised four kids. I have four biological kids. It's not that I don't want to have her, but I, that was not a thought.
Yeah.
That was something that I felt like I needed to act on at the time when it happened, but I never planned that.
Mm-hmm.
I did it for the safety of the child.
Yeah.
So for her to just continue to do the same thing and the court, it's like a joke.
Yeah. Turning a complete blind eye to everything she's done and doing. For this appeal, if it does go your way, would that mean that custody is switched back to you?
Not necessarily. So that's something. See, my husband is he's taken it. I guess I'm the stronger one. Not that it doesn't hurt me, but I've always known like it's not about my heart. It doesn't matter if it breaks my heart. It's about the child.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just whatever's safe for the child, whether that's with me or with someone else. If mom gets help and she becomes safe, that all I want is the safety.
Yeah.
Um, but my husband's taking it really, really hard. So once I started investigating into the appeal, like what would happen and stuff, um, even if I win, it's going to come in parts. I could win some part and not some part. I could win the whole thing. It can go so many different ways. And
Okay.
if should I win, I still have to start filing motions to get her returned to me. She will not
Mm.
be automatically returned. And I have to give them, ironically, 14 days before I file a motion for her to be returned for them to appeal, even though I was not allowed it in appeal time.
Yeah.
We had 10 minutes to say goodbye.
Wow.
Um, so that's gonna be a challenge, something that I'm trying to like unless you actually start studying the law, it seems like it's gonna be a open and shut thing, this is an easy answer, but it's not. There's so much
Right.
red tape and things you
Yeah.
have to go through for what you trying to do to actually happen. So
Yeah.
I'm not planning that far ahead. I'm hoping for something fair to come up. I'm not sure what that is. I would love for her to come back home. Her room is still ready for her. Her toys are still there. The clothes are gone, but I mean we can get new clothes. I mean I would be happy and honored to be the one to raise this child, but if it's not me, I just hope that she's safe.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure even if, I mean, obviously the best outcome would clearly you'd have custody again and the child out of an environment like that. But even if it were back to like split, kind of how you were originally doing back and forth, or the mom being cordial enough to like let you have the child for
Yeah,
prolonged times, just knowing, seeing the child, knowing she's in a safe environment like
right.
that.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I think about that sometimes, like, maybe she's gonna open her eyes and see that I wasn't trying to hurt her, that I was trying to help her.
yeah,
But the thing that I realized with the mom is that she says a lot. You know how you have these people that say they want to do this and they want to do that, but they don't never act on it.
yeah,
Um, all the things she said to me, I've never seen her have action toward the better. So by her not having action, I had to protect the child, even though I tried to
yeah,
protect mom first. Is that's just that was her choice. The
hmm,
child doesn't have a choice, but mom does.
yeah,
So, I would hope that she would see that I did this for the good of her child, not to hurt her.
hmm,
Um, but I don't know because so much has happened and I can't trust anything she says.
right.
Um,
It sounds like even if she were to do a good action, you don't know when she'll flip back and use it
no,
against you or do something worse against you. So,
I don't even know that anger management would help her. Like it would have to be some extent of it's bad.
and
To be attacking people. And not only that, I was in contact with her when she attacked dad's pregnant girlfriend, and she was on the phone with me that night wishing that that baby would die. And I
mm,
was telling her, what is wrong with you? If that baby
yeah,
dies, you're going to jail for murder. And she
yeah,
could not grasp that. Like she just, I just don't want him to have, he doesn't deserve to have a baby boy. I was supposed to have a boy. What are you talking about?
yeah,
Like, those are some of the things that
scary.
I
Very,
yeah,
it's a very, those actions alone, even if they start small, I mean, she has shown a pattern of behavior repetitively doing these things. So,
yeah,
by the looks of it, it's not going to stop. I would assume it's not going to
yeah,
stop and it could escalate. And that's scary. So,
definitely. And just to touch on one thing that the lawyer did bring up in our trial, was why was I only fighting for custody of one child when she had three? And I just want people to know that I tried to fight for all three kids to be safe, but I did not have a relationship with those three kids because the one child was placed in my care. So
yeah.
my obligation was to that child fully.
Hmm.
While I did believe the other ones were in danger, and I absolutely did try to get
Yeah.
them help, um, it wasn't for me to take those children into my custody.
Yeah. Well, and you even said you contacted CPS. You tried to find ways to get help,
Yes,
and they basically ignored you and did not do their job. And on top of that, the mother willingly had, the notarized guardianship agreement for the one child. So that makes sense that then the case would deal with the one child because you have guardianship and she allowed that.
yep,
Well, this is truly a sad case. I really do hope the child is safe and okay. And by the sounds of this, I do hope something happens where your appeal goes the right way, where you do get custody back or something, the mother gets help, rehab, whatever is needed, and that the children are okay. You
absolutely.
and this did
So
spark advocacy in
definitely,
you.
yes,
So
definitely.
you do have a project if you want to talk about that. You're advocating.
Yes. So this has brought me to in my investigation of the child welfare system and the court system, family courts, I realized that a lot of people have been treated unfairly. And when this first happened, I was trying to tell my story and I'm just like screaming it out, but everybody else is trying to tell a story because everybody's in distraught because this is an epidemic. This is very serious and it's throughout the country. So what I decided was that I was going to found a nonprofit organization. And I did that. We have onboarded our immediate board members, and we're going to try to get more people in every state to lead committees.
That's
So
amazing.
it's called the Pitre Promise Project, and we're going to be supporting people that are in domestic violence situations as far as getting them the resources. I don't want people that are in these emergency situations to have to be making 10 phone calls when we can just like set everything up for them and that sort of thing. Um, we're going to be advocating for children through family court reform. We're advocating now already. I have went and spoke at my own parish meeting, um, and I plan to speak at multiple parish meetings. If parents are willing to speak up, we're going to help them with writing that speech. If they don't want to, if they're scared to speak up and they want someone to speak up for them, we're going to have someone that can come in your area and give that speech on your behalf. There's so many people that need help with this situation. And CPS is removing children, and they didn't in my case, but from what I'm seeing, they're removing children from safe homes all the time and not returning them. These children are being adopted out.
Yeah.
Um, and the parents are not even having a fighting chance.
Mhm.
So we're definitely advocating to try to get something done with the situation in
Yeah.
Louisiana and across the country.
And that
And
advocacy is definitely needed. So that's amazing that you're doing that work and fighting so hard for change to happen. If anyone wants to maybe find you or be involved, is there a way they can search the name or find you somewhere?
yeah, so our website is petrepromise.org, and you can email us. They have links to everything on the website, but you can also
Okay.
email us at project@petrepromise.org.
Okay, wonderful. And I'll also link that when I do publish this. I really appreciate you being on today, Jill, and I love that you're doing this project. I
Thank
really
you.
hope a lot of people get involved and help with this. I think that's very
Yes.
important.
People are
Um,
scared to speak out. And
yeah,
that's another thing real quick before we end.
yeah,
Innocent people are getting arrested for speaking out. Uh,
exactly. Yeah.
People are scared to protect children because they're scared for their lives. People in the government systems that are working at these courthouses that are witnessing this, they're scared to lose their jobs. So we need something. How hard would it be to have a live camera in every courtroom for accountability? It's such
Hmm.
a simple. I mean, they have cameras anyway. Why
Yeah.
does it have to be so private?
Hmm.
We need some accountability.
We definitely do in the court system, CPS, DHS, all of the above. And not that there's no one out there in those systems who are truly genuinely care about children, but it's the system itself is broken, obviously. It
Yes,
does not
definitely.
help. And so, thank you so much for being on today, Jill, and
Thank
sharing
you
your
for having me.
story. Of course, and I do wish the best for your case moving forward. And
Thank you.
yeah, definitely keep in touch and let me know. I'd love to see where that goes for you.
Absolutely.
Hi, I'm Rusty Pitre, and I want to tell y'all a little something about what's going on. Man, TikTok is the shit. I got 20,000 views. Unbelievable. I just want to speak out to let everybody know what the hell's going on, what's really going on with me and Jill. So this little baby came into our life when she was 3 months old, and we raised her. We taught her to crawl, we taught her to walk, we taught her to talk. So we're trying to get everything straight, all our paperwork now. 18 months we raised this little baby. Baby mama only had 2 hours a month visitation. That's when she wasn't locked up. She missed 9 times. So how does little baby know who her mama really is when she only seen her 2 hours out the month? So we go to court, protection order after protection order. Same judge is doing this now. Gave us 8 protective orders on on that January 6th, we go to court. My wife walks out talking about we lost. I said, man, how the hell we lost? We got the daddy's rights signed and sealed. Everything's legit, man. And the same judge gives 8 protective orders, and she gives the visitations 2 hours a month. She got to see the little girl. Now, how is that? When we lost, it only took us 10 minutes. They had 2 cops follow us home and got the little girl. After me and Jill raised her 18 months. 18 months is a long time. Now, how that little girl knew who her mama was. Only thing she knew was Rusty and Jill, because that's who raised her. And for this judge to do that to that little girl, to take that little girl from this house and bring her over there when she don't even know Adam from Eve, how is that right, man? You know, not for us, for that little girl, man, to just 10 minutes now, after we raised her 18 months, 10 minutes we got to tell her bye and give her to them 2 cops. Imagine how that little girl felt, knowing what the hell's going on here. So I want to let everybody know what's going on, what happened to us in Lafourche Parish. It's unbelievable. Done deal. We lost. No big deal. Man, I can't believe this judge. No transition period or nothing, bruh. Not get her on the weekend, get her a couple hours during the week. Nothing. Just took her and brought her over there. Could you imagine doing that to your child? Really? I'm just speaking out for that little girl. That's who I'm speaking out for. And I want everybody to know. And I had 20,000 views, and bruh, TikTok is the shit. Y'all just keep paying attention to Rusty, and I'm gonna tell y'all all what's going on. And this freaking attorney that we had, we gave her 20 grand, man. So she wants to get a protective order against my wife. Did you ever hear of such a thing? How crooked this is. Our ex-attorney that we gave over 20 grand to wants to get a protective order against my wife. What's going on with that? So it's unbelievable. So then we go to court and all this, bam, can't happen. Can't happen. No big deal. So we don't do this. So we go to the appellate court. We appeal this shit because we want to know why the hell this happened. Why this happened like this? Unbelievable, you know? So we went to the appellate court, we appealed it. Our attorney didn't want to, she quit on us. And so we did my wife did all this shit herself. And she went to the appellate court and talked in front of those 3 judges and all that. And I'm very proud of her. And I'm a backer 100%. And what's right is right, man. What's wrong is wrong. And it's unbelievable what this judge did. How she rules. How you rule in something like that, bro? No transition period or nothing. That's like taking me and throwing me in another household when I only seen my baby mama 2 hours out the month. Really? Come on, man. We got the daddy's rights and everything signed and sealed, bro. It's unbelievable. So TikTok, y'all keep following me, and I will let y'all know what's up, all right? Peace out. Love y'all.
Thank you for listening to You Can't Break Us. If this episode spoke to you, subscribe and leave a review. Every voice matters. Every story counts. If you or someone you know has a story to share, email youcan'tbreakuspodcast@gmail.com to connect with me. Until next time, stay strong, stay grounded, and never stop using your voice. Because no matter what they've tried to take from us, they can't break us.